What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about how Palantir received almost $175 million worth of guaranteed government contracts throughout the course of 2020. Now, if you like the information that I have for you guys in this video, please consider going down and hitting that like button and smashing that subscribe button to make sure you're never late on any of these videos and you can keep up to date with your favorite stocks and maybe even learn about a couple of new ones. Now, if you didn't already know exactly what Palantir does, basically, organizations or agencies come to them with data problems. Now, companies are receiving an insane amount of data, and with their capabilities, they're not always able to adequately interpret them. So what Palantir does is they basically take all of that data, they transform it into something very simple so that the companies can understand it and act. Now, an example of this would be if a big bank goes to Palantir and says, we want to prevent foreclosures on our mortgages. Palantir would then model the real estate market very intricately and very precisely, as well as the real estate credit, and use predictive analytics to create a model in order to tell the banks how to modify the loans in each specific situation. Now, there was an article released yesterday about Palantir, and basically it said that they closed out 2020 with nearly $150 million in new government contracts. This $150 million is only based on the contracts that they got from the United States. The number is actually closer to $175 million when you account for the new deal that they had with the United Kingdom's National Health Services. Now, as we can see, the Palantir Technologies is the new Denver tech giant, and they have a $20 billion data analysis software firm. You guys all know that. Now, the first contract came from the U.S. Army's Program Executive Office for Enterprise Information Systems and opted to execute the second year of its partnership with the company on the Army Vantage program. Now, the Army Vantage program, as we can see over here, had a 4-year deal with Palantir for $458 million with 1 guaranteed base year and 3 option years. So essentially, they were testing out this software for the first year, and if they liked the software, they would then renew the contract for another year. We can see that this contract was signed in December 2019, and it is now December 2020, and they decided to award Palantir with another $114 million, and we saw the stock price go pretty high off of this news. Essentially, what this program does, it allows leaders to make data-driven decisions in the fight against the pandemic and allowed billions of taxpayer dollars to be freed up for high-priority projects. So basically, they're using all of the data that they can gather in order to help all of the operational aspects and tasks that you would need to complete in order to help fight this disease. The second contract that they ended up receiving was with the FDA. Now, if we go and take a look at this one, Palantir won a deal with the Food and Drug Administration to help power drug reviews and inspections, further expanding the company's government business as it hustled to raise its revenue target for 2020, which they absolutely did. Now, this 3-year deal is worth $44 million and will allow the FDA's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research and the Oncology Center of Excellence to use the Palantir software to integrate and analyze data. Basically, what this is going to help them do is help approve drugs faster by using the data from all of the studies and determine if the data is acceptable in order to approve the drugs and possible pandemic treatments. And it also says they're going to monitor the safety of items like hand sanitizer. Basically, what they're going to do is monitor how many are defective and if it's statistically significant, and they need to change what they're doing. Investors have been getting extremely rewarded by these government contracts. As we can see over here, when this news came out, Palantir shares were up 12%. It seems like the Palantir keeps getting these new government contracts almost every week, and I think this is just the beginning for this company, and they're going to be able to scale this business all over the world, and many of the major governments around the world are going to be using Palantir for data analytics. Now, this could be a good and a bad thing. You can look at both sides of it, but I think the goal of this company is to help people. At this current time, the government contracts account for about 50% of Palantir's revenue, and the other part is coming from more private companies and some other smaller jobs. But the largest amounts of money that Palantir is making is from governments. The most recent government contract that Palantir received was this week, and they actually got the deal from the United Kingdom. So we can see here, Palantir signs $31.5 million deal with the UK's NHS. This is a 2-year contract, and it is worth $31.5 million. And this plan is essentially to help roll out the vaccine and to monitor and collect data to determine how to allocate healthcare resources in emerging hotspots where the disease is flaring up and ensure critical equipment is supplied to the facilities with the greatest need. Now, essentially what this is going to do is they're going to determine who are the most susceptible people to contract and transmit the virus. So frontline workers, maybe they're going to target college students who come into contact with more people, and they're going to help get the vaccine to the most people as possible in the most efficient way to try to stifle the spread. What they're also going to do is they're going to take a look at all of the transportation and storages of the critical equipment. This is going to be the PPE, the personal protective equipment. And what they're going to do is they're going to look and see which hospitals are filling up the quickest. And they're going to take a look at how fast that they are running out and receiving this equipment. So they're going to be able to tell the providers of this equipment where to send all of the equipment, and they're going to be able to do this with patients too. Since some of the ICUs have been filling up, they're going to be able to route patients in different ways in order for them to receive the best care possible. Now, the chart of Palantir has really reflected all of these new government contracts. We can see that it IPO'd a little bit back in September. October was chilling out at around the $9 range, and they just went on an absolute moon mission all the way up to the $30 range, and they really didn't have any reason to fall back. They kept putting out good news. There was no bad news on this company. Basically, what happened was that the banks and all of the other institutions decided that the company was being overbought and it had run up too much in a short period of time and began to downgrade the company. Now we can see that this didn't really have that much of effect as it really rallied back up and has been chilling out around the $27, $28 mark. Now I think this company can go absolutely way higher, especially with all of the contracts that they're coming out with and what the contracts are for. Treating this pandemic and disease and helping out with all of the data and operations is going to be really helpful and really valuable to all of the different governments around the world. It's like trying to sell water to somebody in the desert. They're going to pay the top dollar for whatever they need because it's the only option, it's the most effective option, and they need it right away. If we take a look at the Palantir option chain for January 15th, we can see that there is a really high open interest for a lot of these contracts. Now, the $30 strike is going to be at around $1.84. That's a little bit expensive. I usually try to get more contracts when I buy, and I don't really think with the implied volatility being this high that this contract is really worth it for me. But if you go down here, we can see that the $35 strike has a $24,000 open interest, and they traded 3,000 of them on Thursday, which was Christmas Eve, which is pretty good since the market closed early. But as you can see, the implied volatility on all of these strikes are very high. Since Palantir is a very volatile company, we can see that it fell 3.28% this day on December 24th, but the days before it was up. So the price movement of this company varies a lot, and that's going to be reflected in the option chain. Now, I think I'm going to pick up some Palantir calls for the distant future. I think I'm going to go out and get a little bit of more time, maybe in the February expiration date or the May expiration date to try to cover their earnings and play that run up. But other than that, that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed this information, please go down and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and comment down below your thoughts if you're going to be getting into any of these contracts. Hope you guys have a great day.